It's not something that you want to experience with your baby doctor. From what I had heard when I was looking for a doctor, that he was a good family man, Christian family man, so you never know, I guess.
One of the only OBGYNs in Paragould, Arkansas, now in jail. Police say he took pictures of his patients while he was examining them. The women had no idea until one of them caught Dr. Paul Becton Jr. in the act. Craig Rickert is the anchor at KAIT in Arkansas, joins me now on the phone. Craig, thanks so much for joining us. Can you explain to us how this doctor ended up getting caught?
Well, the way we understand it in court documents just released this week, Vinny, that the victim on April 1st had an appointment to see Dr. Becton. And as the documents pointed out earlier this week, it was actually a consultation or a preoperative office visit because she just had a miscarriage in January and was looking at the possibilities of a hysterectomy. So already this woman probably in a very sad state of mind for what she had just been through. And as the court documents say, she was in the office with Dr. Becton and the nurse. The nurse left and the doctor left. The doctor came back. And at that point, Dr. Becton asked her, who she is still naked from the waist down, has her stand up against the wall and face the wall while he wanted to, he said, according to court documents, examine her kidneys. And at this point, she already felt uncomfortable, these documents say, and she noticed in the reflection of the glass on the picture on a wall, she could see him holding the camera horizontally, taking pictures of her buttocks and pubic region.
Unbelievable. Now, how long has this guy been a doctor in town, and how many victims do we think there may be here?
Well, as far as victims, we do not know. Right now, there is only one. But Arkansas State Police, which got Dr. Becton's phone through a search warrant and went through the deleted images, the images were deleted. They found several images, but the victim could only identify herself in 5 of them. So we do not know how many more possible victims there are out there, but there were other images of naked women on his phone that were deleted and recovered by Arkansas State Police. Now, this happened 2 weeks ago, and we don't know the period of time, if there's been anything in between April 1st when the victim noticed this or when these images might have begun to be on his phone. But that's what they're investigating right now. As far as other victims, we're still investigating that, Arkansas State Police, and the victim are asking other people to come forward if they think they might have been a victim of this.
Wow. Let me bring in criminal defense attorneys Janet Johnson joining us here in studio. Darren Kavanoki is also joining us remotely. Christy Paul, HLN anchor, is here. And, of course, Mike Brooks still with us. Let me start here with this is bad.
Oh.
You're talking about the trust with the doctor, but let's start from your perspective first, Christy Paul. I mean, how invasive, how bad is this?
Well, look, I mean, for a woman, it's all, and especially in her case, it was already so horrendous because she was dealing with a miscarriage and the possibility of a hysterectomy, as he said. But it can be uncomfortable anyway for a woman to go to a doctor, especially one she doesn't know. So one thing that he said that really stood out to me was that she felt uncomfortable, and I have to give her utmost credit for going with that gut feeling and paying attention to what was going around her. And that's one of the things I think that we need to keep in mind when we go to a doctor. But you are in the most vulnerable position at that moment because you have no clothes on and you're allowing this person to examine you. So it is a violation of the utmost.
And it's not equal footing. I mean, you're already submissive because it's a doctor and you're nervous that he's going to give you bad news. So you have to, fulfill whatever requirements he asks you to do so that you get the right diagnosis. I mean, it's a scary, there's no balance of power there to begin with. But that's why the nurse is in there. And that's what I think is so interesting, because when I have clients who put themselves in these positions professionally, I've had, masseuses in the same position. Now, they have people come in the room just to protect themselves. This woman, this nurse, was not in the room when he did it. And I wonder how often that happened, because that's very unusual.
Right. Now, Mike, the other part of this is trying to track down other potential victims.
Forensics.
How are you going to do that? I mean, I guess one way is a client list, right, or a patient list?
Yeah, exactly. They'll know who was in for certain days, for certain appointments, and hopefully they can go back and take these photos that he thought he had deleted. And many times you will go back and it will have a date associated with that particular photo. So maybe they can go back and kind of narrow down who these other pictures are, depending on what kind of phone he had, this kind of thing. But I'm sure that forensically they hopefully can be able to do that.
But with HIPAA, I'm not sure they can. I mean, the patients, even though it's ironic because their privacy is not protected, obviously, but they have a right not to have their identity protected as patients of that doctor. So I don't know if they can do that.
Well, but there was a crime committed here, so then they have to go back now. And, and HIPAA, I think, might not be applicable in this particular situation.
This is
just
going to
trying
be a
to track down
difficult
who it is.
investigation. The other difficult part is this is a small town and there's not a ton of
lot of
OBGYNs,
resources.
and these women need help.